for 5 minutes.
Well, where do we start? Thank you. I'm going to go back to you, Deputy Assistant Secretary Solon, for a minute. As you mentioned in your prepared remarks, the future of the electric power grid may look very different than it does today. Do I recall correctly there are 9 grids in this country, electric grids? Do you know that number?
I don't. It depends on how you define it, whether it's reliability or organization area or interconnections. But there's a lot of different market structures, and whether it's regional transmission organizations.
I'm thinking there's 9 grids, and of course Texas has ERCOT, Electric Reliability Council of Texas,
Correct,
which is about 85% of the states in its own grid. So you say that it's going to look very different. However, no matter how those grids evolve, we understand that many of today's challenges will still be there in the future, meaning we will still need to address grid flexibility. You said connectability, how you define a grid, and I would add variability, while we want to ensure the reliability and the affordability of energy resources. So as we seek to decarbonize the electric power sector, we will need to advance a diversity of clean energy resources in order to encourage the development of innovative energy technology while ensuring at the same time, minimal cost increases for American consumers. You follow me? Okay, I'm getting to my question. As the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Office of Renewable Power, how do you propose to balance all of these? First, we have to define those grids. How do you balance those affordability, reliability, all at the same time?
So Assistant Secretary Simmons has made one of his 3 core pillars on affordability. So everything that we do is trying to bring the cost down and the efficiency. I mentioned the GMI before. This is one of the efforts that we're doing to make sure that the grid is both reliable and resilient, and that we're bringing costs down and make it more affordable as we move forward. But the grid is definitely transitioning over time, and how we use electricity. The system's becoming, the need for flexibility and speed is a lot greater than it used to be.
Absolutely increasing. How often do you coordinate with the Advanced Research Projects Agency, Energy ARPAE, in your work with the Geothermal Technologies Office and the Water Power Technologies Office? Do you get to coordinate with them?
Yes, we do. Actually, for each area, the RPE has actually had some calls related to enhanced geothermal systems with the input of the geothermal office to make sure that the space that they were in was complementary to the work that we were doing, and all of our applied research offices in renewable power actually work directly with RPE on those, and in many cases we actually sit on each other's panels.
And the Office of Science as well?
The Office of Science, we do a lot on the storage area, which it does include hydro. We do a lot in ERE generally to do with battery chemistries. So that's not only in renewable power, but that's also in the Vehicle Technologies Office as well. But we also work on that with grid storage. So that's Assistant Secretary Simmons' second pillar is on storage.
Okay. I'm going to jump over to you, Dr. Moore. In your prepared testimony, you highlight the various conditions of your research site that make it ideal location for DOE's first Forge field laboratory. So how unique are these conditions, number one? And the second question, in your opinion, how important is it for this kind of experimental geothermal facility to represent general geologic conditions across the entire country?
Thank you. The DOE established, I think, 5...
We'll move closer to your mic, please.
The DOE established 5 criteria for an ideal enhanced geothermal system. One was temperatures of 175 to 225 degrees at 1.5 to 4 kilometers. The second was the rock type should be granite. Third was no environmental issues. Fourth was low seismicity, and no connection to an existing system, so a greenfield system. We looked at sites across the country, and Utah is not unique. Granite is the country rock. Here's an example of one what might look like, and a permeable fracture in it. Granite is found across the country. In fact, I would suggest that we could drill here beneath our feet to find conditions that are similar. Probably drill a little deeper, but we would find very similar conditions here.
Mr. Chairman, I have about 17 more questions, but I guess I better yield back. Thank you.
And only 15